Hello, you're listening to the Charles Bonnet Syndrome podcast. My name is Shaimond, and today's special guest is Duchess Antoinette McDonald-Ellis. She's no stranger to the podcast. She's been a former guest and an occasional co-host. She's a creator and a performance artist and has a treat for us today. So how you doing today, Antoinette?
I'm doing really well, Shaimond. Thank you for having me back on again. How are you doing?
So I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. And it's always a treat to have you on. And thank you for everything you do for the CBS community and so many things that you do. I just appreciate it. It's always great talking to you.
It's always great talking to you as well.
So you told me that you had a poem, and I actually heard it, and you shared it with the CBS group, Gary's CBS group that meets on Saturdays. And I thought it was wonderful, and I just wanted to give you an opportunity to share it with more people on this podcast, and you agreed to it. So thanks so much for doing that.
Well, thank you for inviting me to come here and do it. Part of the reason I wrote this was me just dealing with Charles Bonnet Syndrome, right? So I appreciate you letting me share it with your audience.
Thanks so much. Is there anything in addition to what you just said that you would like to share before you start with the poem?
No, just that as you engage it, just try to follow along. It can, at some points, might seem like a lot, but the idea is that's what it's like living with Charles Bonnet Syndrome on a daily basis. So hopefully you can get some idea what it's about. Sit back, relax, and just take it in.
Well, and we need more ways to be able to kind of have an insight to what it is to be living with Charles Bonnet. So art is definitely one way to do that. So I know some people that have drawn some things or made some videos, and now you're doing a poem. So I really look forward to this. And everybody, let's let Miss Antoinette take it away.
Thank you, Shaimond. This poem is entitled A Love Note to Charlie B, My Twisted Entanglement with Charles Bonnet Syndrome. You're always with me wherever I go, on my mind, in my mind, whether I choose you or not. I usually choose not. Even when rejected and knocked down, you spring back up like a clown punching bag, down for a moment, but you always pop right back up in my face, beside me, smiling with that painted-on grin, or posing as a protective halo, ever-present, beamish, cherry-faced cherubs, protectors or reminders. You're always right around the corner or down the hall or on the couch or lounging on the chair, always there gathered under the table, circling around my head all day, my feet at the store, my coffee table at night circles. You're in me, around me, a part of me, apart from me, my control, my agency. You can't hurt me. You're not real. I am oft damaged by you because you are actual. You are my hidden desires, my deepest fears, my secret garden. You know all that is concealed beneath my sparkling mask without an utterance of my confessions. No pillow talk, no little gifts, no emotion, no tenderness, just deep knowing without understanding. You follow me, lead me, we dance and fight. You're full of surprises, appearing from thin air, coming and going as you please. You're never invited, but you always find a seat at my table. The imperfect, perfect lover, a side piece who takes center stage. I love you. You're a part of me. I hate you. You're apart from me. I have no control over you as you try to take control of me. I assert agency dealing with you because you leave me no options. There are no love songs written that describe our affair. So I am writing this love note to you, Charlie. There are no hearts, just circles upon circles inside other circles. Your affections make me dizzy. Ours is a toxic, interdependent, abusive cycle I cannot escape that binds me to you, to me. The writing is on the walls. A strange, familiar, unfamiliar code, messages blurred inside all that you bring. Sweet and salty essence of yours. It's strangely alluring. Like the taste of nectar licked from warm, sweaty skin. The intrigue is mystifying. I am sick of you. I am sick with you like an addict, an addiction I dare not engage. But when you appear, I find it hard to look away, to disengage, to normalize your existence. I fight to mindfully be present in each moment, present in every moment while stepping back and forth through the vortex in both dimensions at the same time, tethered to you, to the now. You're always with me, Charlie B., whether I choose you or not. Our cloak and dagger cosplay of my life is invasive, and I often struggle to understand the rules of engagement, but the stakes are clear. My sanity, my safety, my dignity, my me are all on the table. I am the author of my actions, and so I set the rules that you ignore. You will never rule me, Charlie. That is why you act out like a child or a cat or an Amish cart or Snoop or parading dolls, or you take me to secret, fantastical, enchanting, scary places, or whatever you think of next. Just know you're unnoticed because I run this fun park. I don't want to see you again. But as the cherubs proofread my work, I see you now. I've grown weary, and so I bid you my fondest adieu, mi amor, with all the love I can muster. Good night, Duchess Antoinette.
Wow, it's amazing.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you had an opportunity to share it here. Thank you for agreeing to do that. And I'm sure many people can relate to what you had to say. It's so powerful. And one thing that comes to my mind is how he's always there, and he comes and he goes. And many of the things that you said, I've heard you tell me, and I've heard other people with CBS tell me. And just to be able to put it in words, sometimes when some people may not be able to, you can put it into words and just express how people are feeling and give insight to caregivers and medical professionals. So I just really appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you, Shaimond. Again, like I said, it's particularly at first, it can be confusing for sure, frightening, and we talked about my experience that we don't need to do that again. They can listen to that episode. But, even my doctors pretty much ignored what I was saying, which even put me in a further box, if you will, feeling a bit more separated from the world. But Charlie B will be right there. You feeling separated? That's okay. I got something for you. So hopefully someone can recognize their experience in this, or understand if they're a caregiver, or know someone with CBS, that this is a bit what it's like on a daily basis. And so again, thank you for inviting me to come and share this with your audience. I do appreciate that, and hopefully someone will have gotten something from that. But for me, every time I read this, I find something new, even though I wrote it, because Charles Bonnet continues for me on a daily basis and continues to present me with new things, right? So hopefully someone can find some maybe solace in this. And again, as I've said before, the writing process for me helps me to kind of work through living with Charles Bonnet. Yeah, because what I cannot do is stop the rest of my life and say, okay, I'm just going to Charles Bonnet today. I don't have that option. Most of us do not. But writing, because I've mentioned to you before, I like to journal. Um, I'll write long stories, not long stories, but short stories, but a more long form. But really, for Charles Bonnet, and at some point I probably will, actually am writing about it in a more narrative form. But for me, the poem really speaks to how Charles Bonnet performs in my life. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a love poem, sometimes it's a horror flick, right? But it's always doing something. Like right now, the cherubs, they're happy now, right? Uh,
Okay.
and even that I've assigned them feelings, right, by how they circle my head. Yeah. So, yeah, again, hopefully someone can find some solace from that.
And what people, just in case someone hadn't listened to your episode, I believe it's episode 2. I'm pretty sure it
Yeah.
is. So you can definitely find it. Antoinette said that she has cherubs that pretty much always stay with her. And are the cherubs there now?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me bend down.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. They're not showing up on camera, but they're right about here. And I have a cherub halo that they just circle my head all day, every day.
wow. I like the fact that you took control of that situation to a certain extent and you said you assigned them happiness. Because you could say you could assign them anger or frustration or you can, it depends how you think about it. You may not be able to control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond to it. And I like the way that you said that. And I mean, cherubs are better than having a dragon or something like that. I mean, who am I to say everybody's feelings are different about different things,
Right.
but still having something there consistently can be frustrating, and especially when you can't control it. And so I like the fact that you chose to make them happy or to think happy about them.
Yeah.
So that's really powerful, I think, in and of itself.
Well, and it's kind of like one of the lines I said in the poem. You don't control me, but I am in control of how I perform me. Yeah, and yeah, you've been on the call with me sometimes when Charlie's getting the better of me, right? So I'm not always like, oh, I got this. No, 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 no. Sometimes what is presented to me is horrifying, right? Sometimes what is presented to me is very confusing. Sometimes I don't even realize in the moment that it's Charles Bonnet until I speak about it later, and everybody will be like, well, no one saw that but you. Yeah. So,
Wow. Yeah, that's really something. I was thinking about something that you told me actually yesterday. I don't know if you would like to share a little bit about your experience when you were performing, or would you like to leave that separate?
yeah,
Because it's good, I think, for people to hear different experiences about Charles Bonnet and what different people experience. And then also, like we mentioned earlier or alluded to, is that Charles Bonnet seems to change over time. It could be consistent and then it goes away, or it can be a bunch of soldiers in period clothing, and then it could be a bunch of lights and patterns for the same person. But would you like to share a little bit of your experience with what happened to you when you were performing?
absolutely, absolutely. I sing with a choir, Voices of Flower Mound. If you're ever in North Texas, come check us out. We had our holiday concert, and we perform in conjunction with the Flower Mound Orchestra, and another choir sings with us as well. And there are certain moments in the concert where they are just orchestral pieces. I shouldn't say just, but orchestral pieces. So I get to sit back and enjoy the orchestra music, or so I thought. So during the concert, didn't happen during rehearsals. During the concert, I'm sitting in the choir stand. Now, mind you, very visible to everyone in the audience. And behind the conductor walks through the doorway the hugest Eskimo I've ever seen in my life, maybe 8 feet tall, dressed in full parka. Now, mind you, I live in Texas. Most of us don't even own parkas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He comes down the aisle behind the conductor during the orchestral piece and begins to dance. Like, I'm trying to show you how he was dancing like ballet. He was probably a better dancer than me. And
Wow.
so I kind of looked to my left and then to my right to see my choir mates, and no one else was seeming to see this. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm Charles Bonnet right now. I'm in the middle of a concert. You know, so I'm saying in my mind, you got to stop this, Charlie. I got to sing in a few minutes. But interestingly, as the conductor was getting to the end of the song and as the audience applauded, the giant Eskimo who was dancing directly behind the conductor turns, does something like this, goes down to the floor, and then just disappeared. So when it's time for me to sing again, he was gone. I was like, what just happened? And interestingly, Shaimond, that happened both days of the concert. So,
Yeah.
I don't know what that was about.
What a story. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure some people can relate to some extent, or it will be beneficial to hear different people's experiences. And what you just said, the tail end of that really stood out to me, that you said it happened both days and pretty much at the same time in the concert. So that's really interesting. And I don't necessarily know what that means, but I believe that does mean something. Most things, I don't want to say most things, because some things could just be happenstance, but that's really interesting. I'm just glad that you were able to continue doing what you do. And you do that most of the time. And you were able to go to your coping mechanisms and say, okay, is anyone else responding?
Mhm.
And different things like that, which is not easy. I've been on countless CBS support group meetings, and I've heard many people say that these things, but when you're in the moment,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just hard to put it in practice. You're just alarmed, or you're frightened, or you're angry. So I'm just glad you were able to work through that. And wow, what a story.
Well, and yeah, it is because because as we talk about it, it's even funny as I talk about it. A giant dancing Eskimo, what?
In Texas?
Right in Texas, what? But on the other hand, in that moment, and I did have a lot of emotions going through me at the time, but mind you, as a performer, I'm like, okay, I am visible to the audience at this moment. So I had to put on my performer brain, I had to put on my CBS brain, I had to not freak out and continue to watch the Eskimo. And then my thought was, if he continues to be there, I will just, as much as you're not supposed to not look at your conductor, I'll just keep my eyes closer to my music, right? And not look up at him because I knew the music that we were singing. But my thought was, you got to go away when it's time to sing. And he did both days. So knock on wood, that happened. But I
Wow.
mean, again, and for me on a daily, these guys are with me. So one of the advantages to that is I do get to practice coping with that every day and normalizing it and not being distracted fully and completely by it. So
And you're doing a great job,
thank
because it's definitely not easy from the outside looking in. And then you're an inspiration to many other people. I know that you talk to people that you met at Gary's group and other people about their CBS or whatever it is that you want to talk about. Because one thing I've realized I go to caregivers groups and all sorts of different groups, and sometimes you could be in a group and you don't even talk about caregiving. You just talk about baseball or something, because you still have a commonality with the people, and at moments you just kind of let things go and just kind of flow with things. And you say, wow, that was great. We didn't even talk about caregiving today. But when the time is right, you can certainly go deep on that topic, because that's something for me that I can relate to, and you can relate to having CBS. So thanks for all you do for the community, and thanks for sharing your story, because some people get a little ashamed about talking about it. And then some people want to talk about it a lot. Some people have a balance, but I appreciate the fact that you are open to sharing, because in my personal opinion, I just think that's just great. It could help raise awareness, cut down on stigma
you.
that's associated with it, and it just help people that are going through things when they hear that they're not alone. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And I just want to add a little on that note. A lot of times I will kind of follow the lead of whoever I'm engaging. If they're comfortable with hearing about it, now, mind you, I'm not going to never tell them because this is something I deal with on a daily. And if I feel the need to tell you about it, there's a reason I've told you about it. But if people have questions about it, I am very open to that. But if they're more like, I don't want to, I won't say, well, we're just going to poo-poo it, but so then I'll spoon feed little bits of information as needed. Because if I'm in the room with you and you see me jump up because I see that the room is being invaded by tarantulas, you need to understand, no, don't call 911, don't have me locked up. Okay, I'm having a CBS event.
Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been great. It's a little bit short, but it's sweet. It's great. You got the poem out and shared an update, and it was so great talking with you. And also, I've been on a bit of a hiatus with the podcast, so it's good to get another episode out there because many people have told me that they still benefit from the podcast. So if there's anyone listening and they want to share their story, you can certainly reach out to me or to Antoinette or to Eva or Dr. Gary Cusick. I have all of the information in the show notes. And yeah,
Mary Carmel's
definitely.
Light.
So
Let's not forget to mention Mary Carmel, right?
yeah, Mary Carmel's Light is doing such work that Everpot started, the organizations. You can definitely go to marycarmelslight.com, or if you want more information, cbsyndromepodcast.com, and there's information about how you can contact me. And pretty much if you contact me or Eva or Antoinette, you can kind of reach all of us in a certain way. We'll pass the message along. So thanks so much for your time, and really appreciate that. Is there anything else you would like to say in closing before we head out, Antoinette?
No, just thanks, Shaimond, and thanks for all the work that you are doing for the CBS community. I really appreciate the work that you are doing. I'm part of the community because, well, I have CBS. You're part of the community because you care, not just for the individual in your life, but in general, you care. So I appreciate all the hard work that you have done. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy the show, subscribe and rate the podcast. It makes a difference.